And we're live. Hey guys, hey Rachel. Hope everyone's doing great today. And we're live. On this beautiful Wednesday, June 23rd. But the blood moon tomorrow, full moon, exciting stuff. Just had the solstice, happy solstice everyone. We got Toni here behind the scenes as always. Thank you for being here, Toni. Toni, did you have anything to want to go over before we jump into the questions?
Well, I think for people who haven't been on this show before, it would make sense if I tell a little bit about myself or what I do and how I got here. I am a student from Dr. Morse, and a fruitarian actually, and he taught me everything that I know now. And I think I'm a forever student with him because he's amazing. He has so much knowledge. And I sometimes feel I'm just starting, although it's been like a little over 3 years now. And that is the answers that I give come from him and from what I experienced myself following his protocol with the many so-called diseases that were put a name on that I seem to have, and how it all works out. So that's a little bit that I think is important to know. I am forever grateful about everything that I learned from Dr. Morse. And if you want to know more about him, absolutely go to his YouTube channel. He had hundreds and hundreds of videos there. It is Dr. Robert Morse, ND, on YouTube. Easy to find, amazing channel. And well, that is just a little intro. I think that's important for people to know. And I absolutely want to give credit to Dr. Robert Morse.
Yeah, he is a wealth of just beautiful knowledge, and he is truly dedicated his time to serving others and healing others, and just as Toni has. And so, you know, as we learn about that magnetism, it attracts others who are on that same path of the truth. And so yeah, thank you, Dr. Morse, and thank you, Toni, for stepping into that. And on Toni's YouTube channel, she's taken a lot of Dr. Morse's videos and sort of picked out the ones that she's found to be the most helpful, and sort of little clips here and there, because Dr. Morse's videos can be quite long. They're all very informative. But so she's got some sound bites of some, you know, specific messages in there that are really helpful to digest and get things out that we need. Bridget K asked how to spell it. So it's Dr. Morse, M-O-R-S-E, Dr. Morse.
Yes.
So yeah.
If you go to YouTube and you would in the search bar type in Dr. Morse on, and then what you're looking for, something always shows up. But you have to scroll to other things too. But you know, just look specifically for his videos, and it's the best. Just go to his channel. Even if you listen to one long one where he addresses questions way more in depth than I'm even at this point capable of. Explains everything, because he's also a biologist, an herbalist. I'm learning. So definitely do that. I have an interesting question that keeps coming up over the years, and we keep hearing about our food supply, and that it is what somebody mentioned here is that keeps squirreled away. It was actually a question from Sarah. Is what would we do as frugivores and to prep? Now, the funny thing is, I've been hearing this for, probably the last 10 years. And the food is still all available. But yeah, I started prepping, my way of prepping back then, not knowing about eating fruits and how healthy it is. And I was already organic. And so yeah, I got all these cans with veggies and cans with soups. And I had a lot. I figured I can at least, I can, go for 6 months without ever going to a store. I have enough of all that stuff. And of course, everything needs to be cooked. So now it's just sitting there going way past their use date, all my cans that I never use. So what is the next best option? Well, for me, it is frozen fruit. So if you are in season, you are in season, no, if the fruit is in season, then get more of a certain fruit if it's, very cheap, and wash it and freeze it. There's actually a better option, which is not, available to most of us, and that would be freeze dried. And I've been considering buying a freeze dryer, but they're big, they're expensive. They're around $3,000, and it would run pretty much day in, day out to have, enough supply to live on. But you can really freeze dry anything and everything. It's, yeah, there was one thing that you couldn't, but I forgot what it was because I didn't eat it anyway. But it is absolutely beautiful for fruit. C mentioned sun-dried tomatoes. Yes, of course you can do that. You can sun-dry your fruit too. That would be the next option. I bought a lot of dried fruit at nuts.com in the United States because they have high quality, organic, well-tasting dried fruit. The problem with dried fruit is that, if you eat it a lot, you get dehydrated. You have to make sure that you either soak the fruit before you eat it. But to be honest, it tastes better when it's hydrated, not that much when you put it in water for a while. But you can eat it, but then, make sure that you drink enough, that you don't get dehydrated. Well, that was actually, oh yeah. And what would you think of dried tin chickpeas to make hummus? Emergency, obviously, as he says. And yeah, you can, you don't even have to buy chickpeas in tins or in cans. You can buy them raw, and you can actually soak them overnight. And well, actually, if you want to use chickpeas raw, you have to do it over a 3-day period and rinse them at least 3-4 times a day. So they start sprouting, and once they start sprouting, you can actually use them raw. Not on a detox, but as emergency food. Yeah, absolutely. The thing with hummus is it has you need to make your tahini from sesame seeds. It's also a product that that lasts for a long time if you buy it. But be aware, it is very, very high in proteins and fats. So your body may not really like it that much, but a little bit, sure. It's the same with hemp seeds. You can make an awesome paste, just hemp seeds. You put it in the food processor, and until you have this beautiful paste. The thing again is, don't eat too much of it. So that is actually the dried fruits and the frozen fruits and the freeze dried. Do you have any other suggestions, Justin?
I don't think so. You covered it all pretty thoroughly. Yeah, I mean, freeze drying is great if you can get access to a machine or use one. I've never had experience rehydrating freeze dried stuff, but I've heard it reconstitutes very, very well. So you just add water to it, and it's almost back to when it was fresh. And then, yeah, with dried fruit, same thing. It's going to dehydrate you if you eat it like that. Best to soak it. It might not be as desirable if it's soaked that way, but it's going to be much easier to digest in that sort of sense. And we don't want to be eating lots of nuts and seeds, but they do store for quite a long time, especially if you keep the nuts and seeds in their original protective casings, in the shell or whatever they came from. they will last much, much longer that way. So that, just take after the squirrels and squirrel away some nuts. But overall, I think it's because I used to prep quite a lot too, and I would have all sorts of freeze dried meals and things of that nature. And after coming on this journey, I realized that I'm never going to eat this stuff ever because it's full of just preservatives and crap and whatever else. So even if I was in an emergency situation, I probably would just fast or figure out some other way. So I think a good aspect for prepping is also learning about foraging. If you want to take on some skills, because that's something you can carry with you wherever you go. So I know oftentimes there'll be local classes where someone can teach about the local fauna and stuff that you can forage in the area. It's always something to think about. But just in general, I think it's good to let go of that kind of fear that we're going to be stuck for an inordinate amount of time without access to food. I think for a while, especially before Trump got involved, I think that was a lot more of a concern, a lot more of a possibility, and was high likelihood. But since that's not the case anymore, it's not really as much to worry about. I think if we saw any food shortages, it might just be for a couple of days or so at the most, just to kind of like spark some attention and get people to wake up. And but yeah, all in all, just there's nothing to fear. We've got those guys in control, and so we're good. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Well, Justin, you haven't been through a few hurricanes in a row, because then you can definitely have weeks that there is no food available.
Yeah,
we had it in Florida.
That's
There was another thing that I do have, and that is, and you can make that yourself, is the powdered version of the greens and the fruits, and you can do that yourself in a dehydrator. It's a little bit more work, but do you know that you can actually get what is it, apple or fruit flour? And you don't even have to cook it. You can eat it right out of the can. If you can't get anything else, you can mix it. You can put it in water. You can, put it in sweet in smoothies. So there are a lot of options for if you cannot get anything fresh. It was actually fun looking into that. I did that, a few years ago, and I did stock up on a few things. Sarah had another question from, I think it was last time, I'm not quite sure anymore. It is about seeing particles in urine that shows that the kidneys are filtering, but also losing a lot of weight. And it happens, the body gets rid of what it doesn't need anymore. And I think we've all been going through this process. As long as you feel good, don't worry about it. And don't listen to people who make the, as you call it, the worried noises. They always do that. If you feel great, then, you're good to go. You can just keep doing it. You are 53 days on a juice fast. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. You're doing great, Sarah. Have you experienced that, losing weight, when you started with juicing, Justin?
Yes. I mean, I lost quite a bit. I went from, I lost about 20 pounds as well, I'd say. But I'm a bit bigger overall, so I had more space to lose it from. But it's nothing to worry. I mean, it's people who know me, like, worry about me because they have this idea that my body should look a certain way. But I just tell them, well, I'm not really concerned about what my body looks like. It's more about how it feels. And I've never felt better than being this way. So it's one of those things we have to let go of what other people's, I guess, views are, or their perceptions and just really focus on how we're feeling, and then trusting that the fruit and the juice, it is the right thing. It is the thing that will take care of anything else. So as long as we stay on it, whatever sort of fluctuations with our weight and whatever we need to go through, it's for the right reasons. And a lot of times we lose a lot of weight because our body has accumulated so many toxins at different layers, that it's got to shed those layers first so that it can rebuild from a base level. So just trust the process, trust the plan.
Yeah, the funny thing is with losing weight and being considered skinny, it's different in every country. We come from the Netherlands, and my husband Willem, he is considered here in the United States, he's considered very skinny. In the Netherlands, he was normal. You know, nobody would ever think that he was skinny, but he's skinny. And he is just the way he always, he always was. He lost a little weight when he started on the mostly fruit, but he feels good. So, the next question was, which of Dr. Morse's books do you recommend for the newbies to the idea of being a frugivore? Well, that's from Amy. The first thing, of course, that comes to mind is his Detox Miracle Source book, but that's not really a book that I would, suggest for newbies. And there is another book that I bought last year, and that was actually based on Dr. Morse's teachings. And of course, now I don't have it handy or have the title handy. I should have looked into that, but maybe we can, I either send Amy an email or we save it for the next week, because that was a very simplistic way, and what we need for newbies, a way of what Dr. Morse is all about. And but I'm sure that if you do a search for frugivore and what to eat, you will find it too. But I'll find that one book. So gotta write it down. I got a little overwhelmed this week. I actually managed to spill my lemon water with maple syrup on my laptop keyboard.
Oh no.
And I thought it was just a little bit. So, I got on a tissue and I thought it was good until I put it on the side, and I think half a liter came out. I was like, oh no. So I can still use my my laptop, but not the keyboard. So I ordered a new keyboard, and it was there the next day. It was absolutely amazing. And I looked at it and I was like, that's not gonna fit. I have the wrong one. So ordered a new one, and if it's cooked, it's in the mail today. But in the meantime, I got an external keyboard that's sitting on my laptop now to make everything work. But a little bit of frustration, and of course the whole day is gone then to try to fix it. And fixing it myself. So if I manage to do that, I'm going to be pretty proud of myself.
Yeah.
It should be easy enough. Okay, from Danielle, I got a question, and I don't know if we didn't talk about that last year. And then I keep talking about cleaning out the kidneys. So the question is, what fruits are good for the kidneys? Any fruit, just fruit. Just eat fruit. It's not as much that the fruit is good for the kidneys as it is that if you eat all fruit, you don't eat the proteins. And it is the proteins that are so bad for your kidneys, the proteins, the salts. So that is why, we think, oh, we get healthy on the fruit. No, it's the stuff that you actually leave out. Is there a regimen for kidney flush? It happens when you start, hold on, I gotta stop that one. I hope. No, at least not so loud now. Where was I? A kidney flush. You would start with transitioning to more fruits, and then all fruit, and then you start on a fruit juices. Her question was, or do you just use a lot of water? No, absolutely not. Did you know that water can dehydrate you? that you only need a little water that, helps your GI tract, everything moving in there. So it's not for hydration. So the regimen for a kidney flush is just, get yourself transition to all fruit, leave out all the meat, dairy, eggs, grains, cooked food, and then this is where it starts. She mentions if you're trying to get the metals out by using a copper pitcher and waiting for it to get negative charge, that was mentioned. I have not heard of that. We definitely don't use water in a copper pitcher because you don't need more metals in your body than you already have. Just use glass. Glass is always safe. So yeah, what else does she mention? Yeah, I don't know. I think that Danielle, I would love to send you an health questionnaire and see if I can get a little bit more information from you and help you that way. Because it seems that you have gone through a surgery and there's no way that I have answers for that, with just that one question. There's more to it. There's a reason why your health is the way it is, and how you can change it. Okay, that was this one. I don't know if I mentioned it. No, I did mention it last week. That is about what should urine pH range be. When you are transitioning and detoxing, it should be a little in the on the acidic side. And yeah, that is what is a little on the acidic side. I mean, that's definitely under 7, a little under 7. Definitely not above, because then you're not filtering out your what is it, the waste.
Lymph.
And can you talk about dealing with one who had both spleen and appendix removed 60 plus years ago? I don't know what happens when you have your spleen removed, but what I can say is that with everything that is being removed, and that is really strange the way the body does that, and that is actually even known in mainstream media, I mean in the pharmaceutical or medical industry, is that even if there are only a few cells left of it, then it can regrow. It's interesting, but I don't know, how if that is the case with you and what your other problems with health are. So, Deborah, I can send you a health questionnaire, and we just go from there. We go over it and figure out what can be done. But apparently, we can live a long life already. Yeah, about as long nowadays. So 60 years long, or is 100 years long? I don't know. You can live without a spleen and without an appendix. I live without a gallbladder for, I'm not going to tell how long time. Okay, Becky is in Bali. Oh my gosh. The perfect area for fasting with coconut water. She asked if that is okay. Yes, it is absolutely okay. It's delicious. It's great. Is it really fasting? Yeah, as long as you put something in your body, it's not really fasting. But for what you mean, it's coconut water. My God, it's absolutely perfect. And she said she also likes to juice raw sugarcane. I did that, and I actually have a sugarcane growing in my yard. And have you ever had raw sugarcane juice, Justin?
I haven't, but I've heard that's like one of the best if you're trying to wean kids off soft drinks and they like Sprite. You take lime and sugarcane, and it's like a perfect. Put it in sparkling water if you really want to give it that fizz, but that's like a perfect replacement for it.
Yeah, we had on the farmers market. I haven't seen them in the last few weeks, but we have on the farmers market in Lakeland in Florida. there was a guy who was actually making the raw sugarcane. And I had it before at one of Dr. Morse's classes because he absolutely loves it. And he has a lot of sugarcane in his yard. It is very healthy. So yes, please go for it. It's delicious. It's very hydrating. So do use it.
You have to have a special juicer to juice sugar.
Yes, and I don't have it, so I'm just looking at my at my sugar cane growing. I think it's about, oh, what would it be? About 6 feet high now.
Wow, nice.
I have no idea how large they're gonna get. I have two. One is smaller, and the other one is really, really big. And I got it as a sugarcane. The way it works, that the lady I see who gave it to me, she just cut it in pieces, and she said, just put it in the soil and it grows, and it did. It's amazing. It's like if it would fall over, it just grows a new plant.
Wow, that's incredible.
Like what we call weeds, something that grows where you don't want it. But I thought, and it's beautiful. It's actually a beautiful plant. It's too bad that it's used for all the sugar that they extract from it. Then it's not that healthy anymore. She also asked if it is okay to use raw coconut oil on the skin as a moisturizer. Well, your skin being one of your largest organs, whatever you put on your skin gets to the inside. So I would be really careful with that and not use it that much. There is actually, because you ask what are good tinctures or herbs for the skin. To prevent that you have a dry skin, make sure that you are well hydrated, because that is the first problem with dry skin, is that you are dehydrated. There is an amazing lotion. It's called Rosemary Glad Stars. She is an herbalist, and she has a book with all her recipes. That's free on the internet. You can find a recipe on how to make it. It's called Rosemary Glad Stars. Well, this is famous face cream, what I have. What's in it is grape seed oil, apricot kernel oil, coconut oil, aloe vera gel, aloe vera juice, beeswax, and essential oils of vanilla and elemi. And that works good for me. And I still have some psoriasis spots that haven't fully healed yet. So I use it on that too. And I use it, on my body, on my face, and it works great. But definitely look up the recipe, and, and it's actually fun making it yourself. I've done that a few times. I like it.
Yeah, with coconut oil, it's one of those things. If you're phasing away from using sunscreen, it's a decent replacement, much better than conventional sunscreen, and it works. It's not nearly as strong, but it's like an SPF 5. But the best sun protection is just a tan, just to moderate your sun exposure until your sun is prepared to deal with it. And the more alkaline we get, the less burns we get as well. Because the reason the sun burns us so much is because it's reacting to the acidity within our skin. So just another thing that it helps. And then, yeah, as Toni mentioned, the hydration is really important. If your skin is drying out, it's due to that underlying cause that we have to address. And using topicals and things of that nature can actually, or just any tools where we're not addressing the root cause, it can trick the body into being complacent in certain areas. So if you have a lot of dry skin and you're always putting something on it, it might not get to that space of homeostasis as quickly, because it's always got this kind of crutch to lean on. And then I don't know what you think about aloe, Toni, but I've always heard that's good for dry skin as well. Would that be a good option?
Yeah, the interesting thing is, the first time that I came to the United States was in 1981, and I was gonna buy a Harley, which I did, and tour around. And the very first time I got a little sunburn, because I'm a redhead, I have freckles, light skin, and never ever used any sun protection. I didn't like it. I didn't like the sticky stuff on my skin, so I was just, winging it. And that time, the first tour, I got some sunburn on my arms and my nose. So that was when I was introduced to aloe vera, because nobody had ever heard of it in the Netherlands. That was completely new. I mean, now I have it growing in my yard. But it's interesting that I've never really used anything on my skin, even being as light skinned as I am. Maybe I was eating somewhat healthy back then.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're just paying attention. It's one of those things that it's a good reminder to be present, because if we're out in the sun and we're truly present in that moment and truly listening to our body, you can feel when it starts to burn you. And then you're like, okay, time for a shade break. And you go spend 30 minutes or an hour in the shade. That's the best way, is just get in touch with your body and listen to it. And you can feel when you start to burn, and then you don't have to experience that burn.
That's probably what I always did. But if you are, because for years I guided motorcycle tours all over the United States, and you have no choice than being out in the sun.
Right.
And I figured it out fast enough. I had always a white long sleeve shirt on, and cotton, and protected my skin. So I was always good, but I always had people with me on the tours that just did not want to listen. So and then you pay for it with a bad sunburn. And yeah, I've had a bad sunburn when I was somewhere and I couldn't cover my skin and I couldn't get out of the sun. But not, for me, it's like 20, 30 minutes. And then I'm, what you say, you get hot and you don't feel well, you get out of the sun. Always listen to your body. It tells you exactly what you can and cannot do, what you're not supposed to do. The next question is from Anna Marie, and it is about getting nauseated, drinking a lot of fresh orange juice. She did that for the first week, gets nauseous now. And she stopped it, but nausea remains. Feels sick most of the day and can only drink watermelon or cantaloupe juice and fresh coconut water. Well, this again is like, listen to your body. In a way, when you get nauseated, it just means don't put anything in. That is the easiest way to explain it, and only drink some water until it subsides. And like you said, the thought of anything else just makes me want to vomit. Then only drink what feels good for you, and otherwise do a little water or do a day of dry fast, and it should be over in a few days. You mentioned you're getting 4 liters a day, but it is a struggle and it doesn't feel like enough. If you do 4 liters a day of fruit juices, you are getting enough. Don't worry about calories or anything like that. It's 4 liters, and if it's 3 liters of fruit juice and 1 liter of water, you're doing good. Don't forget to absolutely drink a little water. You really need it. And but I would like to know, are your kidneys filtering? How are your bowel movements? How is the rest? But the nausea, I hear it from a lot of people. It hasn't happened to me yet, but it can happen. And the funny thing, I was just thinking, I say listen to your body, but then I read that you wrote the only food I want is avocado. So maybe you should not listen to that part.
Yeah, the cravings are a different matter. When it comes to listening, and I experienced this exact thing right around this same timeline, and this is it was right towards the tail, right in between week 1 and week 2 on my first juice feast, and this was candida die-off. So this is when, if we're coming from any cooked foods and we go on a longer juice fast, the candida starts to die off after about a week or so. And when it does, it can react in some pretty violent ways to try and get you to do what it wants. And nausea was is very much a symptom of that. And that was one I experienced pretty severely for my first juice feast as well. And so I would say it was only about 2 to 3 days, maybe 4, where I was feeling it. And I just slowed down on the juice. I drank more lemon water with a little bit of sodium bicarbonate too. Baking soda is helpful to kind of settle the stomach a little bit and soothe it. You don't want to drink too much of that, and it wouldn't taste very good anyway. But just sprinkle a little bit of sodium bicarbonate in there with some lemon water. It'll fizz up a little bit, and even the carbonation can be a little soothing on the stomach too. But that helped me a lot. And then just letting the body rest, because you're doing the right thing. Like this is healing, but detox can have some adverse reactions like nausea. So it'll pass. It certainly will pass, but it's not a comfortable feeling, and I know what that's like from experience. So I feel you.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that Candida die-off. I totally forgot about that. So that is actually very common too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Colleen mentioned, and this is about the same thing, how much fruit juice should I be drinking a day? I usually drink a fruit salad around 2 and snack on watermelon in the morning, as well as drinking 1 liter of either watermelon or cantaloupe juice, and kiwi or mango in the afternoon. I'm always wondering if I am taking in enough nutrients. It's getting enough nutrients in. It has also to do with, does your body actually absorb the nutrients? About 4 liter, what I mentioned before, of liquids when you're juicing would be good. I just used half a watermelon, and I got 2 liters of watermelon juice from that. And that was only half a watermelon. So that is half a watermelon. You should eat that then, or you can eat or juice it, whatever you like. But then you still need 2 more liters. And a kiwi or a mango won't do it. Eat 2 or 3 mangoes, however much you like. Eat a few more kiwis. A fruit salad. If you feel good on a combination of a variety of fruit, okay, but be aware that it's always best to eat, fruit, monofruits. That helps your body heal better. It's easier on your digestion. Although you can mix subacid with acid fruits and subacid with, subacid with, no, I'm saying this wrong. You mix, what was it? Sweet, you can mix with, is that called subacid or subsweet? No, subsweet. I was wrong. So you have acid fruit, you have the subfruit, and then you have the sweet fruit. And you don't mix sweet with acid fruits. That's the key. And just if you don't feel well, then eat more, drink more. Just don't drink a lot of water, not more than maybe 1 liter. She asked if it's necessary to take omega-3 oils. No, I don't think so. Are you getting enough magnesium? Yeah, if you get your fruit and if your body is actually absorbing it, it's usually a parathyroid issue that for some reason we all seem to have a problem with. And I don't know if that's been the bad fruit of the bad food or water or air that we all have been inhaling, ingesting. I don't know, but we all seem to have weak parathyroid and have a problem with absorbing what we get in. That is a parathyroid problem, and that can be fixed. I don't have a distiller, so I'm drinking flow water from the store, poured into a copper water bottle. I will get away from that copper, just use glass. And
but the copper is great for adding a negative charge to the water, and as long as you don't store it in there for super long periods of time, you won't really experience any issues. Glass is going to be the most neutral, but a lot of times, especially bottled water, it's going to have come from some other metallic source, so it's going to have a positive charge tied to it.
Yeah, well, all that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, all that copper became a craze. Like everybody, wherever you went, pots and pans and mugs and bottles, everything was copper. And that is always where I have this little red flag going on. It's like, why is this? Why is all of a sudden everything copper? When I listen to Dr. Morse, he says no, and I have to admit, I don't know the details. You mentioned the negative charge to the water. I would love to see how the water looks when you make these, with the special cameras, the pictures of the water. What would be the difference if it comes out of copper water instead of glass? And I'm gonna dig into this. I'm curious now. I want to know more.
But yeah, from my understanding, copper, silver, gold, and the other, and maybe a couple other precious metals are the only metals that leave a negative charge on things as opposed to a positive charge of most other metals, which is what makes them so special. And as far as what we are naturally positively charged beings. And so that's why it's so beneficial to go grounding, because that can dispel that positive charge in earth and your ground. But also if we consume things that have a negative charge to them, it helps to balance out and to reach that stasis. So fruit has a negative charge to it. Anything that grows naturally, organically has a negative charge to it. And so that's just something you can do with water. It's just to have that copper vessel to sort of pass on to that. And then I often stir my juices and things with a silver spoon, just to give a little negative charge to it as well.
Yeah, they seem to do that in the centuries ago, that you had silver spoons. And what was the disease that you got when you, because the rich seemed to have diseases back then that the poor did not have, and that had to do with silver. And I forgot what it was.
Well, there was, yeah, but it's hard to say what's true.
Yeah, that's true too. So I do have a copper bottle, and I had not used it, and I was going to use it, and then I heard Dr. Morse saying something about it, and I was like, oh, okay. So I put it way back, and I haven't touched it since, and I got my glass bottles.
Yeah, glass is great. It's very neutral. So if you're concerned about it, glass is the best. Sure.
Well, we get so much junk in our bodies that you get to a point that you want to be careful with anything and everything. So, oh, I see that you sent me a few more questions that I had not seen yet.
I got a few last
Okay. From Yola. My kids' diet still includes 99% cooked, 99% vegan, gluten-free meals, daddy's choice. I try to feed them fruits, fruit juices, and raw veggies. Do I need to supplement them with B12? No, absolutely not. And if I understand correctly, keep the raw food separate from the cooked. Yes, I would do that. If there is a timing module, no. And it's not only, you're doing great if you try to get them on more fruit and replace it. What you should do though, if you feed them fruit, then for a half hour after they ate fruit, don't eat veggies or cooked foods. Don't mix the two. So that is the best what you consider then a timing. And never do fruit after veggies or a cooked meal, because that's gonna hurt their bellies. They're not gonna be happy. So fruit always at least 30 minutes to preferably even an hour before anything else. And I will send you I have a 3-page write-up about B12 and what it does in the body. And I will email that to you. Okay, another question was, it's a long one.
So JC Racel in the chat said, "Hi Tony, I have Dr. Morse's Just Fruits by Nature. Can I do my juice fast adding that with coconut water?" Yeah, coconut water is great. It's perfectly fine to sub for juice. It's not going to be as calorie dense as juicing other things. So you might have to consume more of it in order to feel the same level of energy. Something to note, but perfectly fine to sub that for any juice. Marcy asked, what about supporting with supplements? So supplements are not needed. There are herbs, if you consider herbs, like fresh herbs, not, store-bought, like questionable herbs. But herbs can be helpful to achieve certain things, but ultimately we don't need any of that. We don't need any extra. The fruit is the ultimate step to get us back to that place of stasis. So it's all good.
We have a question about coffee. Isn't that something that we were all so addicted to coffee?
Right.
The question is about a coffee. I know it is acidic and in the process of getting rid of it, but the headaches are terrible and I don't want to take any pain relief medicines. What do you recommend? I'm trying to lower the amount little by little until no more. That is actually the best way to do it. Is I did it cold turkey. I stopped, just drinking coffee, and that was it. And yeah, I had a headache for a week, but usually it doesn't take longer than a week. And if you taper off like what you're doing, that is the best way. It's you do what works for you. I'm not going to tell you, you have to stop right away because it's so acidic. No, it has to work for you. Otherwise, you never get rid of it. Because I know people that are on all fruit and do everything correctly and drink the acidic coffee in the morning. It's like, gosh, replace it with some orange juice and then try to drink coffee. It's disgusting. You don't want it anymore. But we do what we can.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a good transitional drink that has a similar feel to it, you should look into chaga mushroom tea or chaga blends. I've heard that that's a great sort of. It's still, ultimately we don't need any stimulants for anything, but
and they are roasted, so I wouldn't, I don't really like it that much. It's you have to.
It's just better. It's not great, but it's better. I would say it's better than roasted coffee beans.
Yeah, true. So that was it about the coffee, and that was from Veronica. And you can do it, Veronica. You get rid of it. It's not good for you.
Yeah,
just do it slow.
Yeah, and if you want to accelerate the detox from it, maybe try going to like a sauna or sitting out in the sun if it's hot out and just sweat. That should help. I know that helps with cigarette smokers, so I can imagine it would be a similar effect for purging toxins and getting away from those cravings a little bit faster. So if you do quit cold turkey, maybe try to sweat it out to accelerate a little bit.
And she also asked about the hot flashes, and I from what I hear from everyone is that as soon as women are on all raw and mostly fruit, the hot flashes disappear. It's it's just what the body does. You have toxics in your body, and they just need to come out. We have a formula that actually helps with that. I don't remember the name now. I would have to look it up. But I will send you an email, Veronica, with what it is, because you say you're desperate, and I can get that. I've been one of the lucky ones. I never mentioned anything from menopause. It just, period just stopped, and that was that. Didn't think of it. Didn't have anything. It's amazing. I don't know why, because I had enough health problems as it was. but that was not one of it. We have another one. Is it okay for women to take evening primrose oil on a fruit diet? Yeah, I cannot tell you how many milligrams you should take. I mean, it is an oil, but it is very minute. But there is a reason that you feel that you need it. And oh, this is also from Colleen. Yeah. You have to go to the cause of why you feel that you need it. So I think we need to figure that out. You know, what I can do, Colleen, is send you a health questionnaire and go over the things so that you can see, you know, what are the weaknesses in your body and how you can take care of it. I got an email from somebody who was very sweet and told me I was a great healer, and I'm not a healer. Everybody is their own healer. Dr. Morse calls us his healers, and that we need more people, but all we can do is guide people, give them the information, and that everybody, you know, is their own healer. I feel that is very important, you know, learn as much as you can. And so you don't have to ever depend on anybody for questions. It's I wish we could all learn this stuff when we were young, you know, that's not have to wait until we're, you know, middle-aged and past middle age. We're here to empower you. Isn't that what we do, Justin?
Exactly. We can't be relying on external saviors to fix all of our problems and heal us. We have to take ownership to it. Now we can look to guidance of those who have more experience and take some, you know, take some advice and direction and things of that nature. And I think that's part of this mankind's experience of collecting everyone's experience so that we can do the best version of it and continue expanding and growing in that sort of way. But ultimately, we have to take ownership of our own journey and say, you know what, I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to do the work, and just that little shift of, you know, it's another way to get away from that victim mentality of thinking that, you know, oh, woe is me, I have to be healed by someone else, I can't do it myself, and I've got to rely on doctors and experts and scientists and politicians and whoever else to solve my problems, when in reality it's you. You are the one you've been waiting for.
Yeah, but I think that the people who are listening to us already took that step, that they want to have the control and they're just learning. And we just have to guide them to the next step. Mm-hmm. And because I've met some absolutely amazing people who are really all doing the work and want to do the work and don't want to rely on the medical industry, because that's actually, you know, dangerous. Mm-hmm. Unless it is necessary surgery when you broke a bone. And sometimes I feel that's not even necessary because, you know, your body can heal it. And it will heal it anyway. But yeah, I'm always afraid when people feel that they go to a doctor because they have a pain. You know, people lose spleens, gallbladders, appendix. Things are just tonsils, lymph node. Everything is just taken out, and everything has a function. And then they tell us, no, it's just, you know, leftover. It doesn't have a function. It's like, yeah, we were initially all made 100% perfect. At least I would like to think most of us. So I don't have any more questions.
Yeah, I don't have any either. We'll see if there's a couple, one in the chat. Increasing prana says xanthillus mata, cholesterol deposits by eyes. Do you think the juice feast / cleanse could help these dissolve? Absolutely. I mean, I'm not kidding when it's the one-stop shop for all problems. Now, as far as how long it will take to address that issue, I can't necessarily say. I don't have firsthand experience with what that is or what it can do, but if we get on the juice and especially just stay on the fruit, we're just going to detox and our body's just going to heal. We get out of the way and our body turns into this miraculous machine that it always has been, and it just does exactly what it needs to.
Yeah, because the cause, did you mention just cataracts? Was that a question?
It says xanthelasmata, cholesterol deposits by the eyes.
Yeah, that is actually, that is the start of cataracts. They call it that way. And even if we know like, oh, we have high cholesterol or we have high this, it's all acidosis in the body, and your waste system, the lymph system is not flowing. It gets stuck and we get all these deposits where we don't want them. And then we add acid up on acids and we get sick or whatever. So yeah, the only reason is the only solution is to detox. We call it detox, but I don't see it as a detox. It's just, eating healthier, and then it flows into, a different body to me.
Well, that's about an hour stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, here we got Charlie who's going to make a quick guest appearance.
You don't have to put me on the camera because I've been working crazy all day, but I'm a bit of a mess here. But Toni was bringing. Hi, Toni. Love you, sweetheart.
Hi.
Toni was touching briefly on menopause and the hot flashes and whatnot. And I've done a lot of research with this initially just to see if there was any reference to this in ancient cultures, that women would have this natural process of getting older, shutting down the reproductive system, getting ready for advanced age and getting ready to die. And the fact is that all of the major ancient cultures do not talk about this at all. And then you started to do some research into a woman's physiology, and in particular the reproductive system and what it ties into, and in particular the endocrine system. And then basically what all of my research simply showed was this. Once again, when you toxify the body by acidosis, the number one consequence immediately is inflammation. And so when you look at pictures of yourself, say 2 or 3 years ago or 5 years ago, after you've made a commitment to change your lifestyle around, one of the first things that people see with themselves is they'll go, I look so puffy. It's not so much that they'll say that they look fat or anything, but the first thing that they'll notice is puffiness. And the reason that you notice puffiness is because when you're on a frugivore diet, there is no inflammation because you're providing your system precisely what it is that you need. So you're not causing any aggravation, therefore no inflammation. So this is the number one key component to alkalinity, is that there's no inflammation. Now, inflammation, the first cause or byproduct of inflammation is mucus. And as Dr. Morse, everyone talks about that has studied this, they'll tell you the same thing. If you are producing mucus on a regular basis, you're dying. It's as simple as that. If you have mucus in your body, you're dying. It's that simple. Your body is meant to be perfectly clean. And you can achieve that if you just follow common sense, which is a frugivore diet. So what I want to quickly share with women is that you don't have to go through this. Your reproductive system does not have to go through this. Doesn't Genesis teach us this with regard to Abram and Sarai? And that simply by going on the journey, which is doing the work, leaving the moon goddess Sin in Ur of the Chaldees and walking across 2 deserts to be able to get to the Holy Land, suddenly a 93-year-old woman who is a barren desert, as the Bible tells us, suddenly is the Garden of Eden and is filled with life inside. And then that life becomes Itzhak, which is Isaac, which is happiness, which is serotonin. which is the sacred secretion of the feminine, which is the pituitary gland. So you do not have to have this. This is not a natural cycle. They just lie and lie and lie and lie, and they just make shit up. And then quickly there's 10 or 12 books that are on the New York Times bestsellers list from a group of fake Jews, Zionists, that are all saying the same thing. And if you dig a little deeper and do some research on the people that are writing these books, they all believe in things like population control and birth control and population reduction and vaccines and special diet and meat, dairy, and eggs and all the rest of it. They're trying to kill you. They hate you. And when you listen to Justin and Toni talk on these shows, which is always so great, you're always getting honesty and the truth. What they're always telling you is that your body is a miracle, and all you have to do is get in alignment. You don't even need to know what's going on. You don't. Your body does it all for you. But all it asks is get out of its way. And when you pollute yourself with meat, dairy, and eggs because somebody told you to, then you are getting in your way. And like I said, first consequence, inflammation, second consequence, mucus, and then you die. And nobody who has those symptoms dies gracefully. You need to all know this. Everyone who has like dementia and all of these different heart disease, heart attack, these are painful conditions to live with, and they are horrific pains to die through. And when you exit, that's how you come back. So if you exit in agony, that's how you're born, in absolute agony. So it's never too late to start all over again. It's never too late to change. You are a temple, two temples, temple of the body, temple of the mind. All you need to do is use your common sense and give them what they need. The body is alkaline. You're a frugivore. Give it raw food, in particular fruits. And then for your mind, just breathe. Everything will do the rest. And it's that simple. Sorry for interjecting, everyone, but I hate when people are scared unnecessarily by this Kabbalistic system. They're evil. You're fantastic. You're amazing. You're a miracle. And you've got nothing to worry about. Just get ready, get committed to start doing the work and watch the miracles happen with yourself.
Well, thank you, Charlie. That is what we needed to hear, because it is all so simple. It is so simple, and it has been made so complicated by the medical industry. It's unbelievable. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. And that's all I hear from you and from Justin all the time. It's always so simple, and it is.
And yeah, the one thing that causes acidity is fear. So you let go of that fear, and all of a sudden you become a lot more alkaline. It's that trust that God's got us. We just have to do the right thing. God takes care of the rest. So yeah, thanks for that, Charlie. And yeah, so that's the end of our hour. Toni, did you have any closing comments you wanted to leave with everybody?
No. You always ask me that, and I always have to think about it. I just wish everyone a great week. You know how to get in touch with me if you need help. Email is toniweel@gmail.com. It's in the show notes. Watch the videos, toniweel.com/videos, short Dr. Morse videos. Our shows are on there too. And I love to hear from you.
Yeah, Toni is always so receptive and so ready to serve, and we appreciate her so much.
Well, sometimes it takes a while to get back to people, and I'm a little embarrassed about that.
Well, and that's the great thing about these shows is we can sort of accelerate that process and yeah, get those questions answered quickly. So yeah, if you do have questions you want to ask on this show, please email me at understandingtruth@gmail.com, or you can email Toni directly. Either way, I'm just going to forward them to her anyway. And make sure you have health Q&A in the subject line. That just really helps to isolate which emails to focus on. And yeah, so we'll plan on doing this again next week. And announcements, I'm playing with the idea of doing a Telegram chat tomorrow, but I'll do an announcement about that. And then Friday we've got the Q&A with Charlie and I, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, that's it for this week. Well, thanks for joining us, guys, and thank you for being here, Toni. Thanks for chiming in, Charlie, and we love you all so much, and we will talk to you next time.